Now, it's time for Shoptalk's original content presentation on the Retail Zeitgeist. Please welcome Shoptalk Senior Vice President of Content, Krystina Gustafson, and Shoptalk Head of Content USA, Joe Laszlo.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Retail's Odyssey.
Back again for another Zeitgeist, Krystina. Seems like only a year since the last time we shared the stage. So, Odysseys. You may think 2001, A Space Odyssey, you may think of ancient Greece, but the term Odyssey comes down to a series of experiences that provide knowledge and understanding.
That's right, but Odysseys can also be dangerous, as fans of both Homer and science fiction know. So this afternoon, we're going to take you on 4 key adventures to help you safely navigate your own retail journeys. Our adventures are unlocking unified commerce, AI in retail, next-generation customer journeys, and brand power.
Right, so for the first stop on today's journey, we want to focus on unlocking the potential of unified commerce. We first started talking about unified commerce at Shoptalk last March, that it's time to move downstream from the channel-centric worldview implied by omnichannel and instead reflect the reality that there's a sea of physical and digital touchpoints that shoppers traverse through their days. And you can identify individual currents in that sea, but they all run together. Unified commerce is when a retailer or brand delivers a seamless experience to a consumer, one that flows fluidly across the many online and offline opportunities for them to engage with you. The phrase has organizational implications too. In addition to creating a unified customer experience, retailers also need to rethink how they organize themselves behind the scenes, creating more unified organizations as well. It's been great hearing our community talking more about this over the last year and posing the challenge of developing innovative new ways to unite online and offline, and being truly connected to recognize and serve individual consumers at the places and times it's most convenient for them. 4 key elements have emerged as the requirements to unlock unified commerce, kind of like the 4 elements in one of my other favorite journeys, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Those elements are unified tech stacks, unified data platforms, unified corporate structures, and finally that unified customer experience we've been talking about all along. Let's start with the tech stack, where 2024 is for many retailers a year of streamlining. The past several years have seen omni-channel capabilities deployed rapidly to address critical challenges. For example, that necessary rush to launch click and collect or curbside offerings in 2020 and 2021. By necessity, many of these newer solutions have just kind of been bolted on to legacy commerce stacks. A recent Bain study found that 3/4 of retailer CIOs said that rationalizing their tech stack was a priority for them. And yesterday, Jason Gowans, the Chief Digital Officer at Levi's, spoke about how they are doing exactly that. The second building block is a unified data platform. Delivering a unified customer experience requires disparate systems exchange data harmoniously to provide both a single view of the customer and a single view of inventory and other crucial business data. The integration of disparate business, customer, and operational data streams has been a priority for years, with a lot of talk of data clouds, data lakes, data warehouses. Making data consistent and accessible is key to enabling unified commerce. The third element to unlock unified commerce is the breaking down of the silos that persist in many organizations to move away from being channel-led, for example, and for example, to empower marketing teams and supply chain teams to talk to and learn from one another. Of course, this isn't new, and if removing those barriers to cross-divisional operations was easy, everyone would have done it by now. And then that final building block to unified commerce lies in enabling unified customer experiences, which in practice mostly means working on the in-store experience. Store experiences should be personalized and reflect a customer's entire digital journey if they had one. Shopping journeys that started online should seamlessly continue in-store, providing a through line from digital engagement to in-store experience and back again. I experienced this when I visited the Apple store on Fifth Avenue in New York last month to test drive their new Vision Pro. At the end of the visit, Kevin, my guide, had me scan a QR code that put a summary of my visit, including details of custom fitting the device, into my Apple account. Now, I'm not convinced I'm going to buy a Vision Pro, but everything I need to enable a seamless transaction is there later if I change my mind. While we've been talking about personalized in-store experiences in terms of the benefits to the shopper, the tech investments required to deliver next-generation unified experiences have operational efficiency benefits as well, and they also improve team members' ability to serve customers. Indeed, a recent Bain study found that retailers considering unified commerce had a long, maybe even too long, list of operational and customer-facing business benefits that they expect the capability will unlock. Like so many innovations, we expect unified commerce capabilities will go from a differentiator to table stakes really rapidly. But we're at this key inflection point where retailers have the bandwidth to think strategically about what unified retail will mean for them and their customers, and to figure out how best to invest in technologies and business practices that will bring it to life. So before we leave the adventure of unified commerce, here are 3 takeaways. First, unified retail transcends just tying channels together. Doing it right requires rethinking tech, data, and organizational structures as well as that customer experience. Second, unified commerce potentially unlocks significant business benefits beyond that improved customer experience, helping to justify the investment. However, emphasizing customer benefits will encourage consumer acceptance and adoption. And third, and finally, physical stores form a critical piece of unified commerce, but most retailers will require investments in technology and training to connect them to a shopper's past and future digital journeys.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Well, we've now gone more than 5 minutes since the last time we mentioned AI, which
I deliberately left it out of my section.
For quite a few of you out there in the audience, that may very well be the longest you've gone this entire show without having it come up. It's been fun hearing the debate over the past couple of days about whether this technology is over or underhyped, as excitement about its potential is simultaneously met with trepidation. So let's start by acknowledging the sheer extent to which this excitement is being driven by generative AI. The latest data here from CB Insights illustrates the all too familiar slowdown in venture capital funding levels from the 2021 peak. VC funding in 2023 was down 42% on the year. So when you look at it against that backdrop, the growth of funding that's continuing to flow into generative AI is particularly striking. It's no surprise that many retailers are moving fast to explore ways to use this technology. And while the number of solutions out there at times can seem endless, we've boiled down the use cases for generative AI into 3 main categories: improving productivity and efficiency, enhancing the shopper experience, and enhancing creativity. Now, I can't think of a single retailer or brand who isn't seeking to unlock each one of those objectives. And what's exciting about generative AI is the possibility that it has to deliver on all 3 simultaneously. First, though, the ethical concerns about AI have to be addressed, as biased, unpredictable, or just plain undesirable outputs remain. For this reason, we've seen a lot of retailers and brands take a 2-step approach. The first step is putting in place the guardrails, the governance, the policies for how AI will be used in an organization, while at the same time starting to find ways to use it to unlock internal productivity gains. Once this governance is in place, the second step is launching customer-facing tools. We'll use Walmart as an example here. Last June, they rolled out a Gen AI playground, which is effectively a safe place for team members to experiment with the new technology. 2 months later, they introduced a Gen AI-powered assistant to 50,000 of their non-store employees. In mid-October, they published their Responsible AI Pledge, outlining the 6 commitments that they made to their various stakeholders, including, very importantly here, the end consumer, about how they'll use AI responsibly. Once these commitments were in the public domain, they then began launching customer-facing tools in January, starting with Gen AI-powered search in their app. Now, the fact that this journey unfolded in less than a year's time illustrates the speed with which generative AI is being developed and adopted. But it's also a great case study for how companies can balance risk and opportunity by being slow and considered in strategy and then quick in execution. To illustrate the range of opportunities that generative AI provides for retail and where it might make sense to get started if you haven't already, we've plotted them against 2 axes. First, we have the degree of unchecked customer exposure on the vertical axis, and then the potential time frame on the horizontal. It's worth noting here, just like we saw with Walmart a couple of minutes ago, that in generative AI world, long-term can actually mean months rather than years. Tools that improve productivity and efficiency are largely internal and provide some great short-term gains. Though some, like summarizing product reviews, are already being adopted for customer use. Those that enhance the shopper experience are currently attracting the highest levels of funding, particularly when it comes to complex search. And finally, tools that enhance creativity are already starting to unlock benefits for retailers and brands. For example, Amazon's Gen AI image and product description page creator, which is said to reduce the time it takes to list a new product by 95%. Regardless of where your company is on its AI journey, though, a crucial component of any retailer or brand strategy has to be ensuring that each team is empowered to experiment with the technology and understand the potential that it has for their specific function. In other words, creating a culture of business-wide curiosity, rather than an expectation that central IT or digital teams will spoon-feed solutions. A great example here, it comes from PacSun, whose CDIO holds quarterly think tanks to showcase practical use cases of technology trends across their departments. Under her direction, each function embarks on an exploration of a tech like AI, and then shares with the broader organization an actual case study from their experiment. So before we leave the promised land of AI, here are a couple of quick takeaways. And it's worth noting that in the world of AI, maybe they aren't so quick at all, because they all come with some sort of caveat. First, guardrails in generative AI are crucial to protecting your company data, your customer data, and your brand. However, this has to be balanced with creating a positive culture of experimentation to ensure you aren't left behind. Second, full business ownership is critical to identifying all the potential use cases of AI, but there also needs to be a clear owner with ultimate accountability. And third, while it's hard not to get excited or, quite frankly, overwhelmed by all the possibilities of generative AI, we encourage all retailers and brands to remain focused on solutions that solve real problems for their businesses.
I feel like you got the fun section of the Zeitgeist this time around, but the third stop on our journey, on our odyssey, is also a journey in its own right, the customer journey. A customer's path from discovering a brand to consideration, purchase, and eventually loyalty is more complex than ever, with potential twists, turns, and shortcuts along the way. The old purchase funnel was always a convenient oversimplification, but in the modern world, it feels more and more like ancient history. One way to describe this is the blurring of the two key stages of the customer journey: upper funnel, brand building or demand creation, and lower funnel, direct response or conversion, that moment that drives shoppers to buy right now. Customer journeys, and especially the demand creation portion of them, are being disrupted by three big forces. First, the evolving media landscape. Second, new supply chain and operational business models. And third, though it's been way less than 5 minutes since our last mention, the rise of AI-enhanced marketing and shopping experiences. The first disruptive force is the continued transformation of the global media landscape. Old school mass media audiences and advertising continue their long decline as digital continues its rise. Within digital, people continue to seek out quick hit, highly personalized visual content, driving TikTok's rapid rise and the continued growth of other platforms like Pinterest and Instagram. And advertising dollars also continue to flow into retail media. Indeed, eMarketer now forecasts that spend on retail media this year in the United States will almost draw level with spend on television advertising. The second disruptive force is the acceleration of production via the emergence of factory direct import business models, so-called manufacturer to consumer models, exemplified by Temu and Shein. These platforms blur the boundary between demand creation and conversion, shortening the time from an emerging trend to a mass market. A startup called Portless, which presented as part of our startup pitch on Sunday, helps enable direct shipping for any brand, accelerating the speed at which the test, learn, and iterate cycle can occur for physical products. I won't repeat Krystina's section on AI, except to observe it too is powering those funnel collapsing opportunities that transform the purchase journey. Brought together, these three forces are empowering new routes to engage and excite shoppers. You can think of two distinct forms of new shopper engagement in this transformed customer journey. Down here on solid ground of the physical, we have products themselves changing. And up in the ether of the digital world, so are the ways of getting the word out about them. In terms of physical products, drops and limited time deals bring excitement. Temu's factory direct model facilitates scarce, time-limited products that drive unplanned purchases, while other brands roll out, for example, limited edition holiday spam that resells for a premium on Poshmark.
Yum.
Yum. These limited production runs have the added benefit of increasing margin and limiting inventory size, so reducing markdown risk. Related, and at times an important source of these limited availability drops, we have cross-category brand and celebrity collaborations. Collabs, again, drive demand and brand excitement. Examples range from Nike and Tiffany to Louis Vuitton and the artist Yayoi Kusama to my personal favorite, PacSun and the Metropolitan Museum of Art. We're firmly in a period of choice and variety. The pandemic-driven, supply chain-driven drive for SKU rationalization and simplicity has really given way to an imperative to offer a far wider range of products, generating both the excitement of discovery and the fear of missing out. If those are the big product innovations that drive demand, next-generation digital marketing demand creation tools include many of the things we've been talking about already. New forms of shoppable content, especially fun, bite-sized, authentic content, like Walmart's Add to Heart miniseries on YouTube or Peloton's recent content partnership with TikTok. Next-generation personalization within e-commerce, driven by AI, where entire storefronts can be merchandised based on your purchase history, expressed or inferred preference, or psychographics inferred from site behaviors. In-store retail media also stands to create new advertising opportunities through screens, location-aware in-app messages, or, like this example from Instacart, ads on smart shopping carts. And finally, gamification of loyalty platforms and next-generation mechanics will also drive shopper engagement as well. Next-generation customer journeys, how people shop, discover, and engage with products, is a topic very close to Shoptalk's heart. We programmed a whole set of sessions on this topic, 2 this morning, 2 more coming up this afternoon. So for now, I'll just wrap up and point you in their direction for more. Before we set sail for the final adventuresome stop on our Odyssey, here are 3 key takeaways about next-generation customer journeys. First, the purchase funnel is ancient history. Tracking and understanding how your customers are encountering, learning about, and shopping your categories today is crucial. Second, shoppers move from consideration to consumption faster than ever before. All elements of marketing therefore need to be shoppable. And third, AI and shoppable media are merging search and discovery, helping shoppers find things they know they wanted, while also inspiring them with things they didn't know they wanted at all until just now.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Well, the final part of our Odyssey is very closely related to the evolution of customer journeys that you've just been talking about. And that's how brand power is changing. In today's crowded and competitive market, it feels like a number of big legacy brands are having a moment by finding creative ways to connect with today's consumers. There are 4 pillars that we see as foundational to brands winning in today's market: audience engagement, quality and authenticity, distribution, and ease of purchase. The first pillar is building audience engagement through messaging and branding that resonates with today's consumers, and more importantly, taps into today's cultural zeitgeist. This can sometimes be seen through the humanization of brands that's long been employed by startups, whose brands are intrinsically tied to their founders' stories. This trend is now increasingly manifesting itself with larger companies, as massive organizations lose the corporate speak in order to sound like your best friend or your cool older sister. A great example here is Taco Bell, whose relatable humor helped them drive excitement and 8% US sales growth last fiscal year. This type of culturally driven audience engagement can also manifest itself through great storytelling, which is in lockstep with today's biggest cultural trends. Yesterday, you got to hear from Robbie Brenner and Steve Totsky over at Mattel as they talked about how they brought this to life for their Barbie brand. What's notable about the Barbie movie, though, is that it's not anywhere near the first feature film to be based on a toy. And as we heard yesterday from Mattel, it's not even going to be the last one from Mattel. But what made it so successful was how poignantly it tackled the divisive nature of the toy and how it relates to conversations about being a woman today. The film helped lift group sales 16% in the most recently ended quarter. Now, you could debate, as we did a little bit yesterday, whether Mattel even needs to sell more Barbie dolls now that they've got this nice new revenue stream coming in from their films division. But that data point speaks to the importance of having a cohesive commerce strategy to tap into these big brand moments, which can be fleeting in today's fast-moving news cycle. Outside of Mattel, there are few better illustrations of this than the TikTok phenomenon of the Stanley Quencher, which catapulted the brand's revenue from $70 million in 2019 to $750 million in 2023, which at first I thought was a typo, but I was assured these numbers are correct.
Amazing.
Of course, not every brand's been as successful on this front. We've seen others successfully drive conversation and massive brand awareness, but then fail to convert that engagement into sales. Now, if the goal surely is to create recognition for the brand, marketing spend and KPIs have to be set accordingly. As Joe mentioned earlier, collaborations are an increasingly important part of next generation customer journeys and also a route to driving customer relevancy. Crocs is another multi-billion-dollar brand that landed double-digit growth in 2023, and its series of collaborations have been one of the key ways that it's engaging with today's consumers. The second essential brand pillar is quality and authenticity, and ensuring you deliver a great product consistently. No brand wants to be a one-hit wonder, and long-term brand equity is built through great products and smart product extensions that are authentic to the brand. At 250 years old, Birkenstock is one such legacy brand that's having a moment, posting 26% revenue growth in its latest fiscal quarter. Fans of the brand, both old and new, are drawn to its consistent commitment to quality and their recognition that they know exactly who they are as a brand. The third pillar is distribution, and this one's interesting because it's where legacy brands have long had an edge, by recognizing the scale and access to customers that wholesale partnerships and physical retail provide. Where they'd lagged their D2C challengers was in digital and data capabilities. Now, though, after years of playing catch-up on digital, legacy brands are now on firm footing. It's D2C brands who are now the ones left playing catch-up, but they're finding it can be a lot harder to scale via wholesale partnerships and catch up in that capacity. The fourth and final pillar is ease of purchase. And unless you have been trying to order from the Mandalay Bay over the past couple of days, I would say Starbucks is probably the greatest example here. Even if you prefer a competitor's coffee or sandwiches, their seamless mobile ordering and pickup capabilities foster so much brand loyalty that its rewards members account for over 50% of their US operating revenue. So to summarize this section, here are a couple of key takeaways. First, many of today's most successful brands are excelling at customer engagement by making themselves part of the cultural conversation. Second, these businesses are not only excelling at takeaway number one, but they've also capitalized on that buzz to generate revenue, further blurring the lines of what brand marketers are expected to deliver. And finally, while it can be incredibly hard to build brand trust, it is very easy to lose. This means striking the right balance of evolving to stay relevant for a new generation of customers while also remaining true to your original brand purpose.
And with that, our retail odyssey comes to its conclusion as we pull safely back into port. And Krystina, it's always been fun taking the journey with you.
I agree.
Before we part ways, we'll leave you with our three key themes: unlocking unified commerce, remember the growing importance of AI in retail, tracking those next generation customer journeys, and respecting the power of brands.
Well, we hope you enjoyed your journey with us, and we wish you all smooth sailing across retail's turbulent and ever-changing seas.
Bon voyage.
Bon voyage.